Alright, hello YouTube. I wanted to wait a few days to make this particular video because the news was so impactful and left so many people talking and with such strong reactions. I was with you. I had a strong one too, but I wanted to wait a few days and kind of let it settle and really think about it and see how everyone feels about it and just kind of process everything. So the news I'm talking about, of course, is Thursday night. It was confirmed from Warner Brothers directly, so this is no rumor. Everyone knows this is true by now. Ben Affleck has been confirmed to be the new cinematic Batman in the sequel to Man of Steel, with Batman and Superman in it. Now, I'm going to get shortly to how I feel about this, but first let's put this in perspective. The sequel, Man of Steel, tentatively titled Batman vs. Superman World's Finest. I'd love to hear it called World's Finest, but whatever, that's not the point. It will be the first time in history, and arguably the most highly anticipated comic book movie event fans have wanted to see since the first time we've seen, big blockbuster comic book movies. Like the Avengers, seeing Batman and Superman team up is something that fans, I don't think, thought they would see for a very long time. Because Superman and Batman, I think, are unquestionably the two most popular characters in comic books ever. They're also two of the oldest, they're two of the most original characters. They've been around for decades upon decades. So they have a long history, and people love seeing them together, seeing them fight, whatever. Stories with both of them together, the chemistry that they have, or the friction that they have, always make for great storytelling. So the idea of a film coming out with both of them definitely raises eyebrows and gets people enthralled by the news. Now, I was one of them. I was jumping up and down. I was so ecstatic when I found out at San Diego Comic-Con that Snyder and company were making Batman in the new Superman movie. Now, there are mixed feelings about that. Obviously, I want the Superman movie to be a Superman movie and still have Cavill show character growth and be more of a Superman. And, I could talk more about that, but this video isn't about that. It's about Ben Affleck as the new Batman. So, how do I feel about it? Well, to be honest, you gotta look at this from different angles. Number one, how I feel about it personally, I was never an Affleck hater. I was never against Ben Affleck. I liked Ben Affleck back when it wasn't cool to like Ben Affleck. In fact, I'll say this out loud and I'll defend how I feel. I liked Daredevil. I said that and I mean it. The director's cut's even miles better. I mean, if you think Daredevil's a terrible movie, watch the director's cut, because it really is good if you give it a chance. And we've seen so many superhero movies since then that really puts Daredevil in perspective. It's a mediocre movie at best. And I've said it before, I really love what it was trying to do. I love the tone that they were going for, and I think they got in some parts of the movie. But it felt very Batman-esque. Well, I mean, the character comes from tragedy, deals with a lot of emotional baggage. So it is very kind of rooted in that similar style and storytelling. And it's it has Frank Miller all over it. So I take that for what you will. But I always felt that the Daredevil movie had Batman roots in it with how the character acted and how they shot certain parts of the film. I mean, look at it again. There are shots when he's at a church standing with gargoyles, like kneeling down, acting all broody. That's freaking Batman. I'm telling you. It was just, duh. But anyway, so I like Daredevil, and that was Ben Affleck's first, well, it's not his only super movie anymore, but at the time it was, and I loved it. But I can understand why some people didn't like it. But I don't blame Ben Affleck for that. It was just in the time it was released, and the character I don't think was strong enough to support a full film. Definitely not for 2003. Maybe a few years later when enough movies started coming out, because you were still getting that superhero formula down and working out the kinks. The genre was still relatively new as far as pumping out movies. I mean, it had been around, but I'm getting way off topic here, but the point is Ben Affleck is the new Batman. So I started that off to say people attacking him as Daredevil, which I don't agree with at all. I liked him as Daredevil, and I think that showed roots that he can be that kind of dark, gritty character. Now, the second point is he is not the same actor he was 10 years ago. Now, yes, he's done bad movies. He was in Jiggly, or whatever you want to call it. He did the whole stupid... he has moments, you know? I'm not defending the moments where he wasn't good and when he was bad, arguably. Every actor or filmmaker goes through a period where they're going to hit some bumps. And yes, Ben Affleck went through a long slump. I'm not denying that. But now he is a very accomplished film director. And if you look at his acting, it's improved dramatically. Maybe not improved, but he's definitely shown the types of characters he can act in when he's not just typecast as this cardboard cutout Ben Affleck character. The Town and Argo are two movies, and Gone Baby Gone, I think, is the other one. The movies are being thrown around all the time to show examples of Ben Affleck's acting ability. And you can see in the newer movies that this is a guy who acts his age and carries a certain maturity that you can believe in his characters now. So the acting is there. The directing is phenomenal. People think he's one of the best working directors in the business right now, and I happen to agree with that, which leads me to my third point, and I think the reason why Warner Brothers chose Ben Affleck to be the new cinematic Batman is because I think it's a package deal for the future. Ben Affleck, how much he'll deliver as Batman, we'll see. I'm hoping for the best, but I think he may very well direct some future Batman movies. He'll definitely direct some kind of DC movie in the future, I'm sure of it. But direct and star in a Batman movie? That's an interesting idea. And going for the movies he's directed and acted in the past, the recent past, like Argo, for example, which he won an Oscar for, so we know the movie was crafted extremely well. He had a hand, I think, in the script writing, too. So he knows how to craft a movie all around. That is great news. That is good. If he's that involved in the project and that deep in the storytelling and that deep in the acting, it's all going to come back to the acting. When he's that involved from behind the camera and in the script, it's going to come through with his process and making it on screen, being the character. So, with all of that in mind, how do I feel about Ben Affleck as Batman? I think it is a good choice. I can't say a great choice because honestly, I'm still figuring it out and processing how is Ben Affleck going to be as Batman. That's the $1 million question. I believe Ben Affleck can be a great Batman. I really do. But to be perfectly honest, I don't see it. And you know, it was just announced. It's okay to not be able to see it just yet. But obviously, Warner Brothers and company must believe something in Ben Affleck to be able to announce him, knowing the amount of backlash they probably would have received, and they did, just an embarrassing amount. In fact, way too extreme, way too angry. Makes me embarrassed to be a comic book fan at times, to be honest. These comic book whiners that don't think outside the box and don't really take time to weigh why and how things could be good. It just boggles my mind. I understand, because the first time I heard the news, I thought, what? And people are making jokes about calling him Batfleck, which I think is kind of funny. You know, that doesn't bother me. And it's going to be even better if he's a great Batman and he has a nickname like that. It's going to be cool. But this is all just speculation at this point. I think it's a great deal. Also, another important thing to keep in mind is that Warner Brothers recently, I didn't know this until recently, but Warner Brothers lost a deal with Legendary Pictures, which is one of their big partners with some of their biggest blockbusters in recent years. They did a lot of the DC movies. They did all 3 Batman movies with Christopher Nolan. They do Christopher Nolan's movies. So they lost, I think, future Nolan projects with Warner Brothers. I'm sure he'll make more, but for the foreseeable future, they lost Nolan projects. Anyway, the point is Legendary Pictures, a big studio. If you don't know what it is, look it up, because they have some huge titles under their belt. Warner Brothers no longer has a deal with them. I think it went to Universal. So now they need to find some kind of big package, bankable partner that they can rely on for great big movies. So who do they get and who can they make a deal with that's going to solidify that relationship for the future? Ben Affleck is arguably the most successful director in the business right now. So casting him, a proven great actor in roles, and an undoubtedly talented director, amazing director with his films, is very smart and solidifies a working relationship in the future between him and Warner Brothers. With all of that said, I feel really great and optimistic about this choice as Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm looking forward to seeing some images or maybe some clips in the next year or so I can feel more comfortable with Ben Affleck as Batman. But with everything considered and everyone talking now more calm-headed about it, I feel better about Ben Affleck as Batman. If I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 how I feel, I'd give it probably a 7-9. That's how I feel at the moment. Will I feel better in the future? Maybe. Will I feel worse if I hear something I don't like? Absolutely. But this is how I feel weighing all of the possible things going around. And it looks like it to be they're taking the project seriously. Right now, there's rumors going around that Bryan Cranston may be announced soon as Lex Luthor. So there are great things to look forward to in this film. It's also become kind of a tradition for amazing performances in Batman movies and superhero movies, for that matter, to have like a sheer amount of backlash when they're announced, and then they deliver an amazing performance, and fans eat crow. They don't have anything to say because they so passionately felt anti, and then they just love it after when they get it. Michael Keaton as Batman, dating back to the first movie. Heath Ledger as the Joker. The response to that, just night and day with how people felt about that performance when it was announced to when we saw the movie. Recently, Anne Hathaway as Catwoman. That's another great example. So Ben Affleck as Batman is just another example of this. And if you look at history, and if it's any lesson for the future, we might be in for something really cool and really special. And if Ben Affleck is in it for the long run, we are very lucky. With that, I'll leave you with that thought. And post what you think below. And what do you want to see for the sequel to Man of Steel? How do you feel about Ben Affleck as Batman? Post your jokes if you want, honestly. I think they're funny. They're great. They create excitement and interest in the movie, good or bad. At this rate, any type of interest is good because it's so early on. But I'm looking forward to it. Post your comments. I'll be happy to read them, get some conversations going. And I'm Silver Lightsaber, and I'll talk to you later.